Today I want to talk about something that takes just 3 minutes of your day, but can make a remarkable difference in keeping your brain sharp and healthy. 3 minutes. That's less time than it takes to make a cup of coffee or check your email. Yet these 3 minutes, done consistently every single day, can help protect your memory and cognitive function as you age. Many of you watching this are probably in your 60s, 70s, or beyond. You've noticed things. Maybe you walk into a room and forget why you went there. Maybe you struggle to remember names of people you just met. Maybe you find yourself searching for words that used to come easily. These experiences are common, and they're concerning. We all want to keep our minds sharp for as long as possible. Before we dive in, let me be clear about something important. This 3-minute routine is not a medical treatment. It's not going to reverse serious cognitive conditions, and it's not a substitute for professional medical care. If you're experiencing significant memory concerns or cognitive changes, please talk to your doctor. What we're discussing today is a simple, research-supported practice that can help maintain and support healthy brain function. Always consult your healthcare provider about any health concerns. Now, let's talk about why just 3 minutes can make such a difference, and more importantly, what you should actually do during those 3 minutes. Your brain is not a static organ that's finished developing by the time you reach adulthood. For a long time, scientists believed that the brain you had was the brain you were stuck with, that it couldn't really change much after a certain age. But research over the past few decades has completely overturned that outdated belief. Your brain has something called neuroplasticity, which means it can actually rewire itself, create new connections, and even grow new neurons throughout your entire life. Think of your brain like a garden. If you tend it regularly, water it, pull the weeds, plant new seeds, it thrives. If you neglect it, it becomes overgrown and less productive. The same principle applies to your cognitive function. When you challenge your brain with new activities, when you stimulate it in different ways, you're essentially tending that garden. You're strengthening existing neural pathways and creating new ones. Here's what happens on a biological level. When you engage in brain-stimulating activities, your neurons, the cells that transmit information in your brain, communicate with each other through connections called synapses. When you learn something new or challenge your brain in unfamiliar ways, these synaptic connections become stronger and more efficient. Your brain also releases various proteins and growth factors that support neuron health and survival. Regular mental stimulation increases blood flow to your brain, delivering more oxygen and nutrients to brain cells. It can even trigger the growth of new blood vessels in brain tissue, a process called angiogenesis. All of these changes help keep your cognitive function sharp, and may help protect against age-related memory decline. The beauty of a 3-minute routine is that it's sustainable. One of the biggest reasons people fail to maintain brain health habits is that the activities feel too time-consuming or complicated. They start with enthusiasm, maybe doing crossword puzzles or learning a new language. But after a few weeks, it falls by the wayside because it feels like too much work. 3 minutes is different. 3 minutes is so brief that you have no excuse to skip it. You can do it while your morning coffee brews. You can do it during a commercial break. You can do it right before bed. The brevity makes consistency possible, and consistency is what actually creates results. So what should you do during these 3 minutes? Let me walk you through several effective activities. You don't need to do all of them every day. Pick 1 or 2 that appeal to you, and rotate through them to keep things interesting. The first activity is finger exercises. This might sound too simple to be effective, but hear me out. Your hands and fingers have more nerve connections to your brain than almost any other part of your body. When you move your fingers in precise, deliberate ways, you're activating large areas of your brain's motor cortex and sensory cortex. Here's a simple finger exercise you can do. Touch your thumb to each of your other fingers in sequence, starting with your index finger and moving to your pinky, then back again. Do this with both hands simultaneously. Once that feels easy, try doing it with your eyes closed, which adds an extra layer of challenge. Then try doing it with one hand going forward while the other goes backward. This cross-lateral movement, where each hand does something different, is particularly powerful for brain stimulation. Another variation is to tap each finger on a table or your thigh in a specific pattern, maybe 1 2 3 4 3 2 1, and repeat it faster and faster, or create your own pattern. The key is that it requires focus and coordination, which lights up multiple brain regions simultaneously. A second powerful activity is using your non-dominant hand for everyday tasks. If you're right-handed, spend 3 minutes using your left hand for simple activities. Brush your teeth with your left hand. Stir your coffee with your left hand. Try writing a few sentences with your left hand. It will feel awkward and clumsy at first, and that's exactly the point. When you do something that's already automatic with your dominant hand, your brain basically goes on autopilot. The neural pathways are so well established that it requires minimal brain activity. But when you switch to your non-dominant hand, your brain has to work much harder. It has to create new neural pathways and engage regions that aren't normally active during that task. This is incredibly stimulating for brain health. I know someone in their mid-70s who started doing this consistently. About 2 years ago, this person would spend 3 minutes every morning eating breakfast with their non-dominant hand. It was frustrating at first, and there were definitely some spilled coffee incidents. But this person stuck with it, and after several months, noticed improvements, not just in non-dominant hand coordination, but in overall mental sharpness. Tasks that required focus and attention felt easier. Memory seemed more reliable. Now it's just part of the morning routine, something done without even thinking about it. A third activity is counting backward. This sounds almost too simple, but it's remarkably effective for keeping your working memory sharp. Start with a number like 100 and count backward by sevens. 100, 93, 86, 79, and so on. If that's too easy, count backward by 13s or 17s. Working memory is your brain's ability to hold and manipulate information temporarily. It's what you use when you're following a conversation, solving a problem, or remembering a phone number long enough to dial it. Working memory tends to decline with age, but it can be strengthened with practice, just like a muscle. When you count backward, especially by irregular intervals, you're forcing your working memory to work hard. You have to remember where you are in the sequence, while also calculating the next number. You can't rely on automatic counting patterns. Your brain has to stay actively engaged the entire time. A fourth activity involves visualization and memory. Spend 3 minutes mentally walking through a familiar place, like your childhood home, or a vacation spot you've visited multiple times. Try to recall as many specific details as possible. What color was the front door? What pictures hung on the walls? What did the furniture look like? What sounds and smells do you associate with that place? This type of detailed recall activates your hippocampus, the brain region, crucial for memory formation and retrieval. It also engages your visual cortex and various association areas throughout your brain. The more vivid and detailed you can make the mental imagery, the more brain regions you're activating. You can make this more challenging by trying to navigate through the space from an unusual perspective. Imagine looking down on your childhood home from above, like a bird's eye view, or imagine walking through it backward, from the back door to the front. These unusual perspectives force your brain to work harder to construct the mental image. A fifth activity is focused attention practice. This is essentially a very brief form of meditation, but with a specific cognitive focus. Choose an object in your environment, maybe a plant, a piece of fruit, or an everyday item like a pen. For 3 minutes, focus all your attention on that object. Examine every detail. Notice its color, texture, shape, shadows, reflections. If your mind wanders, which it will, gently bring your attention back to the object. This practice strengthens your attention control, which is a critical cognitive function that tends to weaken with age. In our modern world with constant distractions and stimulation, the ability to focus sustained attention on one thing has become increasingly rare and increasingly valuable. Strengthening this ability has benefits that extend far beyond the practice itself, improving your capacity to concentrate during conversations, while reading, or during any activity that requires mental focus. You can also try focus listening. Sit quietly and try to identify every distinct sound you can hear. The hum of the refrigerator, birds outside, distant traffic, the air conditioning, creaking of the house. Try to isolate each sound and focus on it individually. This activates auditory processing regions and attention networks in your brain. Now, here's what makes this 3-minute routine truly effective. It's not just about the specific activities themselves, though those matter. It's about the consistency and the variety. Your brain thrives on novelty. When you do the exact same thing every day, it becomes routine, and routines don't stimulate the brain as effectively. So rotate through different activities. Do finger exercises on Monday, non-dominant hand practice on Tuesday, backward, counting on Wednesday, and so on. Keep your brain guessing. Keep it challenged. The other critical factor is daily consistency. 3 minutes every single day. is far more effective than 20 minutes once a week. The regular, repeated stimulation is what triggers those beneficial changes in brain structure and function. It's like physical exercise. You can't go to the gym once a month and expect to build strength. You need regular, consistent practice. When should you do your 3-minute brain routine? Honestly, any time that works for your schedule is fine. Some people find mornings work best because their mind is fresh, and it sets a positive tone for the day. Others prefer afternoon or evening. The most important thing is picking a time you can stick with consistently. Many people find it helpful to anchor the routine to an existing habit. Right after breakfast, right before lunch, right after your evening walk. When you connect it to something you already do reliably, it's easier to remember and maintain. Let me share another real example. I know a woman in her early 80s, who was becoming increasingly worried about her memory. She would forget appointments, lose track of conversations, struggle to recall names. Her doctor said her cognitive function was normal for her age, nothing concerning. But she wanted to be proactive about maintaining her mental sharpness. She started doing a 3-minute brain routine every morning, right after reading the newspaper. Some days she would do finger exercises. Other days she would try eating her breakfast with her left hand. Since she's right-handed, sometimes she would spend the 3 minutes trying to recall details from a place she visited years ago. The variety kept it interesting, and the brevity made it sustainable. After about 6 months, she noticed changes. She was remembering appointments more reliably. Names came to her more easily. She felt more mentally alert throughout the day. Her family started commenting that she seemed sharper. Now, 3 years later, she's maintained this routine without fail. It's become as automatic as brushing her teeth, and she genuinely believes it's made a significant difference in preserving her cognitive function. Was it only the 3-minute routine? Probably not. She was also staying socially active, reading regularly, eating a reasonably healthy diet. But did the routine contribute? Based on her experience, and what research tells us about neuroplasticity and brain health, it certainly played a valuable role. If you find this information helpful, please consider subscribing to this channel and clicking the like button. Make sure to turn on notifications, so you won't miss future health information that can support your well-being. Let me give you some practical tips for actually implementing this routine. First, don't overthink it. The perfect routine is the one you'll actually do consistently. Start with whichever activity sounds most appealing or easiest to you. You can always add variety later once the habit is established. Second, set a timer. 3 minutes can feel longer than you think. When you're focused on a challenging mental task, use your phone timer or a kitchen timer. When it goes off, you're done. This prevents the routine from accidentally expanding into 10 or 15 minutes, which might make you less likely to stick with it. Third, track your consistency. Get a simple calendar or use your phone's calendar app. Put an X or checkmark on each day you complete your 3-minute routine. Seeing that chain of consecutive days builds momentum and motivation. You won't want to break the streak. Fourth, be patient with yourself. The first few times you try these activities, they might feel frustrating or difficult. That's completely normal and actually a good sign. It means your brain is being challenged, which is exactly what we want. With repetition, activities that initially felt impossible will become easier. That's your brain creating new neural pathways and strengthening connections. Fifth, notice how you feel over time. You probably won't wake up one day and suddenly realize your memory is dramatically better. The changes are subtle and gradual, but after a few months, you might notice you're remembering things more easily, focusing better during conversations, or feeling more mentally sharp. Keep a simple journal if you want to track these observations. Now, this 3-minute routine is most effective when it's part of a broader approach to brain health. Let me quickly touch on other lifestyle factors that support cognitive function, because they all work together synergistically. Physical exercise is incredibly important for brain health. When you move your body, you increase blood flow to your brain, promote the growth of new neurons, and trigger the release of beneficial brain chemicals. For most seniors, a daily 30-minute walk is perfect. You don't need intense exercise. Just regular, moderate movement makes a significant difference. Social engagement matters tremendously. Conversations, especially with different people about various topics, stimulate multiple brain regions. Loneliness and social isolation are actually risk factors for cognitive decline. Make an effort to maintain friendships. Join clubs or groups, volunteer, or participate in community activities. Even brief social interactions at the grocery store or with neighbors provide brain benefits. Quality sleep is essential for brain health. During sleep, your brain consolidates memories, clears out waste products, and repairs itself. Most adults need 7 to 8 hours per night. If you're not sleeping well, talk to your doctor about possible causes and solutions. A healthy diet supports brain function. Foods rich in omega-3 fatty acids like salmon and walnuts, colorful fruits and vegetables full of antioxidants, whole grains, and foods high in B vitamins all contribute to cognitive health. Stay hydrated throughout the day, as even mild dehydration can impair concentration and memory. Managing stress is important because chronic stress can actually damage brain structures involved in memory. Find stress management techniques that work for you, whether that's meditation, deep breathing, time in nature, hobbies you enjoy, or whatever helps you feel calm and relaxed. Lifelong learning keeps your brain active and engaged. Take a class, learn a new skill, pick up a hobby you've always been curious about. The process of learning itself, regardless of what you're learning, stimulates brain plasticity and builds cognitive reserve. All of these factors work together with your 3-minute daily routine to create a comprehensive approach to maintaining brain health. The 3-minute routine is like the keystone habit that makes everything else easier. When you start your day by spending 3 minutes actively caring for your brain health, you're more likely to make other brain healthy choices throughout the day. The science is clear. Your brain remains capable of growth, change, and adaptation throughout your entire life. You're not stuck with declining cognitive function just because you're getting older. Yes, some changes are normal with aging, but significant cognitive decline is not inevitable. With consistent, intentional practices like this 3-minute routine, you can maintain mental sharpness, protect your memory, and keep your brain healthy for years to come. I encourage you to start today, not tomorrow, not next week. Today, pick one of the activities I described. Set a timer for 3 minutes. Do it right now, as soon as you finish watching this video. Then do it again tomorrow, and the day after that. Build the consistency over time. After 60 days of daily practice, evaluate how you feel. Notice whether you're experiencing any improvements in memory, focus, or mental clarity. Notice whether the activities that initially felt difficult have become easier. That's evidence of your brain's remarkable ability to adapt and strengthen. If you have questions about these brain-stimulating activities, or if you want to share your own experience with maintaining cognitive health, please leave a comment below. I read every comment carefully, and I do my best to respond with thoughtful, detailed answers. Your experiences and questions help other viewers too, so don't hesitate to share. Remember, 3 minutes a day, that's all it takes to invest in one of your most precious assets, your cognitive health. Your future self will thank you for starting this habit today. Take care of yourself, and here's to keeping your mind sharp and healthy for many years to come.